Welcome, everyone, and we'd like to call to order the meeting of the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners, and we'll be led in prayer by Commissioner Turner, and Commissioner Schaefer will lead us in our pledge.
Let's pray. Father, it is good to be here again tonight, Lord, and we're thankful for the opportunity that we've been granted to represent our constituents, Lord, and we pray for our community and we pray for our country, Lord. The next time that we meet as a body, we'll have elected a new president, and I just ask that you give that individual the wisdom and the guidance and the direction that they need to not only honor you, but honor the constituents and the citizens of this country and our county who elected them to that position. We're thankful for Commissioner Cook's successful surgery, and I'm thankful that you were with her, and I just pray that you be with her through her recovery, Lord. And those who are watching at home, thank you again for the privilege that you've given each one of us to be citizens of this great country, and the understanding that only true liberty and true freedom comes through you, Lord. So I ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus, the blessings that you've given us. Amen.
I ask you to please join me in honoring our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Madam Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Schaefer? Here. Commissioner Piercy? Here. Commissioner Jordan? Here. Commissioner P? Here. Commissioner Cook? Here. Commissioner Jernigan? Here. Commissioner Cush? Commissioner Reed? Here. Commissioner Gurley? Here. Commissioner Turner? Here. Commissioner Allen? Here. Commissioner Stevens? Here. Commissioner Johnson? Here. Commissioner Baum? Here. Commissioner Nipper? Here. Commissioner Dodd? Here. Commissioner Phillips? Here. Commissioner McAdoo? Here. Commissioner Kaplan? Here. Commissioner Gooch? Here. And Commissioner Sereno? 20 present.
All right, thank you very much. You have received a copy of the minutes from the last meeting. Commissioner Phillips.
I reviewed those minutes from our September 15th meeting. I found them in order and move that we dispense with the reading and for their approval.
Right. Do we have a second from someone there? Commissioner Johnson and others. Did anyone else have any additions or corrections? If not, all of you in favor of that, then please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Okay, now we have a special team of gentlemen here with us tonight, and we're going to have a resolution of support and partnership with our 101st Airborne Division. Commissioner Schaefer, would you please come forward and do the honors?
Before we do the resolution, I'm going to give a little bit of background about why I'm the one that's up here. And I tried to think of why the deputy mayor asked me to read this resolution tonight. Well, I am a veteran, but I'm Air Force. And, of course, he's Army. This is the 101st we're talking about tonight. But I think one time in the past I mentioned to the deputy mayor that my father-in-law was in the Corps engineer, and he was also a West Point grad of the class of 1945. And then for many of the first years of my marriage, I was considered to be an Air Force type. So I think that might have had something to do with it. Anytime he can get a little dig in at the Air Force. But last spring, Rutherford County was approached by the 101st Airborne Division and the 3rd Brigade Combat Team, nicknamed the Rockasons. And what this is, remember they're from the 101st, and that word, the Rockasons, in Japanese after the Second World War, was the word for parachute. Literally, it meant umbrella for falling, because they didn't have parachute at that time. So shortly after that initial meeting, the 3rd Brigade received notice that it would deploy on its 8th combat rotation to Southwest Asia since 9/11, and this time's to Afghanistan. They've been 3 times to Iraq, and this will be the 5th time for Afghanistan. And they're having a ceremony for the deployment on October 20th, and the deputy mayor will represent Rutherford County up at Fort Campbell. But I would ask now Colonel Larry Burris, the brigade commander, who will be on his 5th deployment to the Middle East, and his combat sergeant major, Arthur Burgoyne, who will be on his 6th personal deployment to the Middle East, to come forward and join me up on the front. And while they're coming up, I'll say the intent of this partnership is to establish and build on the relationship with the 3rd Brigade Combat Team, to publicly state our support for their sacrifice and efforts on behalf of our communities and citizens. So they can be prepared to provide support as well. The brigade's public affairs officers will provide updates to our community on the deployment and will be the point of contact for community organizations that would like to assist the brigade in any way. And when the brigade returns, we hope that to build on this partnership, and would like for those soldiers that may be honorably discharged to consider Rutherford County to live in. I think this, we think this is a county that is well open to veterans, and we believe in what our servicemen and women do, and to take part as EMTs, whatever jobs they've been trained for. So additionally, we would like you to keep in mind that while 4,400 soldiers are going to be deployed and participate in combat, that over half that many families are going to be still back here at Fort Campbell. So we ask you to keep them in your prayers as well as our soldiers. Resolution recognizing partnership between Rutherford County and the 101st Airborne Division and 3rd Brigade Combat Team. Whereas we gratefully acknowledge that we live in freedom today because of the many sacrifices that have been made and are being made today by the valiant servicemen and women in the armed forces and their families. And whereas the 101st Airborne Division, Screaming Eagles, is the United States Army only air assault division whose high level of training, discipline, and professionalism make the 101st Airborne Division the vanguard of America's land combat forces, with 5 division-level deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan over the last 15 years. And whereas the 187th Infantry Regiment, which serves at the 3rd Brigade Combat Team, the nickname again, Rockasans, is 4,400 soldiers strong and comprised of the 1st Battalion, 187th Infantry, 3rd Battalion, 187th Infantry, 2nd Battalion, 506th Infantry, 1st Squadron, 33rd Cavalry Regiment, 21st Brigade Engineer Battalion, 626th Brigade Support Battalion, is currently preparing and will soon conduct its 8th combat deployment to Southwest Asia. That's Afghanistan and Iraq. Whereas since the attack on 9/11, over 630 soldiers from the 101st Airborne Division have paid the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms we enjoy in our nation and our great community. 50 soldiers were from the 3rd Brigade Combat Team, with literally thousands having been wounded in action, with countless others bearing the invisible mental and emotional wounds of war. And whereas it is fitting and proper for Rutherford County to extend its continuing support and partnership to honor the 3rd Brigade Combat Team and the 101st Airborne Division's many years of heroism and sacrifice in defense of our country's freedom. Now, therefore, be it resolved, on behalf of our residents, the Rutherford County Commission is proud to recognize, support, and partner with the 101st Airborne Division and 3rd Brigade Combat Team, its military members and their families for their service, sacrifices, and in all they do. And be it further resolved that the Rutherford County Commission encourages all municipalities and communities within, as well as schools, churches, organizations, and residents, to fully support the partnership efforts with the 101st Airborne Division, 3rd Brigade Combat Team, its military members, and their families now and in the future as they continue to defend our democracy, our security, and our national values. Mr. Chair, resolve this 13th day of October, 2016. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Commissioner Turner and everyone else, I'm sure. All in favor, then please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Would like to say a word?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting us to attend your meeting tonight. On behalf of Major General Gary Valesky and Command Sergeant Major Nowak, the Division Command Team, the CG and Command Sergeant Major Fort Campbell, who are both deployed to Iraq fighting ISIL right now, and on behalf of our soldiers and our families and the 3rd Brigade Combat Team, we graciously accept and look forward to this partnership with Rutherford County. As he mentioned, we have lots of soldiers leaving the Army every year, thousands of soldiers leaving the Army, many of whom want to stay in the Central Tennessee area. And this is a great opportunity for those soldiers who want to stay here, work in Rutherford County. And it's great for our families, for the 101st Brand, and we look forward to a relationship. Thank you, sir.
Thank you again very, very much. Appreciate you. Thank you. Excuse me. Commissioner Gurley.
Yes, I'd just like to take a moment to remind the public that our partnership with the 101st goes back many, many years. I can remember as a young teenager in high school being at the theater in 1962 at the base when members of the 101st in full combat gear were waiting to get on a plane and, if need be, parachute into Cuba. The air base at Smyrna was the airlift wing for the 101st. And that partnership with Rutherford County goes back many, many years. So once again, we thank the 101st for all that they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gurley. Okay, next on the agenda is a time for public comments. And we do have one person that wishes to speak tonight, Mr. Donald Todd, and give us your name and address, and he knows the rules of this presentation well.
My name is Donald Todd, and I live at 633 Buck Lane. Constitutional problems. Eliminate collectivist metro, but support the office of county sheriffs nationwide. Several examples can be revealed to indicate how the United Nations is using metro government to establish collectivist dictatorship in the United States. One of these examples is the unwise control Rutherford County's surplus revenue. Control of Rutherford County's surplus revenue. These dangerous policies will eventually lead our county toward becoming dependent upon the federal government to loan us financial help in order to pay for the cost of operating our county government. This is a very dangerous situation. Often, unwise financial policies are forced upon counties and states by metro unelected officials. For example, metro agencies apparently encourage Rutherford County to make unnecessary and unwise investments using surplus revenue to do this. When we examine a Rutherford County financial report dated on March 31, 2016, it indicates that a total of $178 million of unspent surplus revenue was invested in a few banks in the form of certificates of deposit, a money market account, and an LGIP #1 savings account. As a result of making these investments of surplus revenue, is it possible that our county is violating a federal law? Title 18, Part 1, Chapter 31, Section 641, This states that it is illegal for anyone to use public money for private gain. This surplus revenue is being used to expand the private loan businesses of several banks. The growing unconstitutional power of Metro should be guarded against. The office of county sheriff has the power given to it by the Constitution in the Posse Comitatus to protect us from such heavy-handed entities, much more power than most people know. Therefore, we must be very careful who we select for this office, as they may someday be all that stands between us and dictatorship. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next is elections and confirmations, and we'll call on Commissioner Turner, please.
Thank you, Mayor Burgess. Commissioners, on your iPad, you'll find a list of notaries that we need to approve. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for their approval.
And a second from Commissioner Phillips. All right, anyone, questions or additions there? If not, everyone in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
We also need to fill 3 vacancies on the Board of Zoning Appeals. Steering nominates Mr. Jared Barrett, Mr. Zane Cantrell, Mr. Michael Rather. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for their approval.
Second, was that Commissioner Jordan? Anyone else have any nominations they want to make or otherwise comment? If not, everyone in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
We also need to fill a vacancy and an alternate vacancy on the Beer Board. For the open vacancy, steering nominates Mr. Jerry Sartan, and as the alternate, steering nominates Mr. Travis Johnson. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for their approval.
Second from Commissioner P. Any other nominations? Or all right, everyone in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
And steering would also like to announce the appointment of Ms. Wanda Watkins as the Judicial Commissioner, and that's our report.
Thank you, Commissioner Turner.
Mr. Chairman, we have to elect that person as the Judicial Commissioner.
Excuse me, Mr. Stevens, what did you say?
We have to vote to elect this person as a Judicial Commissioner.
Okay, he did. I heard what he said is confirmed, so, all right. So let's confirm, if you will, please, the appointment of our Judicial Commissioner, Ms. Wanda Watkins. So that being no further objections, all of you in favor of that, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Okay. Next, you have before you a resolution to approve the consent agenda. Commissioner Phillips.
All 8 items that's on the consent agenda, find that they all are appropriate, and barring any commissioner wishing to remove one for discussion, move that we approve the consent agenda.
I have a second on the consent agenda. All right, now we have one person rising to speak, Commissioner Piercy.
Mayor, I would like to remove number 8 for further discussion.
All right, thank you, Mr. Piercy. We will do that, and we will handle that item immediately after we vote on the balance of the consent agenda. Does anyone else wish to remove any items? All right, therefore, then we have the resolution to approve the consent agenda will now be addressing items 1 through 7. So all of you that are wishing to vote on that, please cast your votes now.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Okay, now record the votes, please.
20 yes, motion passes.
That motion is now passed. Now we're ready to address item number 8. Is there a motion? Commissioner Piercy.
Yes, sir. In Public Works, a few nights ago, I made the motion to have the bridge that runs across the river at the Walter Hill area, there at the Stones River in the park, named for John M. Baskins. That request had been made by his family. I told him I would try to carry it out for them. At that time, I wasn't aware that there would be as much opposition as there has been on this project. 5 to 6, 7 years ago, this was tried before, and the opposition was so strong then, it was just left unnamed. We have a very nice river bridge there that has no signage, no name on it whatsoever. I would like to make the motion or the amendment to this to just have the bridge named the Walter Hill Bridge.
That's the first. Do we have a second? Commissioner Jordan. Motion and a second to name the bridge across the Stones River, Highway 231, the Walter Hill Bridge. Discussion. Okay, let's just do this. Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Okay, then please record the votes.
20 yes, motion passes.
All right, thank you. That has now been approved, and this will officially, maybe we won't have to do this again 5 or 6 years from now again. So thank you, Mr. Piercy. Next, there is no unfinished business, so we're ready for the reports by our standing committees, and the only committee that has a report tonight, unless someone brings up one, is the Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee. Commissioner Jordan.
Mayor, I have one more question before Mr. Jordan starts. I should have
Okay,
asked.
Mr. Piercy, we will allow that.
I should have asked prior to sitting down. By naming this bridge, is there any way we can put the name on it forever?
I don't think we can bind a commission's actions that may occur at some point in the future.
Could possibly be changed in the future.
Someone may do that after we're all gone.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Jordan.
I appreciate Commissioner Piercy's efforts there. Item K1A, General Fund Budget Amendment. Be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the general fund be amended as follows. Planning from decrease unassigned fund balance $27,855 to increase expenditures for a secretary of $16,900 and related benefits. This is for the add the position back in the groundwater department that was taken away some years ago. The mayor has brokered a deal to some extent with the state that they'll provide a minimum of 2 inspectors over there as long as we provide a support staff. At one point in time, we had 5 to 6 inspectors, and we provided the support staff, and it got down to where as little as 1 part-time person was doing that, and was pretty problematic for people in the county needing to be served. So I wholeheartedly endorse this and appreciate the mayor's due diligence in getting this done. Resolved this 13th day of October 2016. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Second, Commissioner Piercy and others. Any discussion further? If not, please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
20 yes, motion passes.
Item K1B, funding for David Urey School Project. Whereas there is a need to plan for and construct schools due to growth in the area, and whereas the Rutherford County Board of Education has anticipated the future needs of the school system, and whereas the Rutherford County Board of Education desires to proceed with the construction and acquisition of furnishings and equipment for David Urey Elementary School in the following amounts as approved by the various county committees. Construction, $2,518,000. Furnishings and equipment, $400,000, for a total of $2,918,000. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that funding for the construction and acquisition of furnishings and equipment for David Urey Elementary in the amount of $2,918,000 be authorized and funded from a future bond issue. Resolved this 13th day of October 2016. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Commissioner Allen, a second. Any discussion here or questions? If not, please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes, please.
20 yes, motion passes.
Item K1C is for information purposes only, a presentation of State Form CT-0253 for the new bond issue, the refunding bond issue, and the Energy Efficient School Initiative loan. This information is in your packet, and if any of you can't sleep later on tonight, that'll do a good job of helping you with that. You can read that at your leisure. And if there are any questions, direct them to our Finance Director.
Thank you, Commissioner. And please note under item number 3 that due to the good work of Lisa Nolan and all of her finance department and our financial advisors, 2.36857 was the interest rate on those bonds that were issued. So we commend you for that great outcome there. Okay, I've already mentioned that there's no other reports from any of the other committees. Is there any other business anyone wishes to bring forth? Commissioner Phillips, Commissioner P., and others maybe.
Thank you, Mayor Burgess. We voted a couple of months ago to support our sheriff with the adding of new employees, and I can't remember, I think it was 19. I'd like maybe the Public Safety Committee to update this commission on how that's going and who's doing that hiring. I think the commission made a recommendation for a committee to be put together, including our Human Resource Office, and I'd like to know maybe at next month's meeting how that's going and who's doing that hiring and how that is proceeding, okay? Maybe Commissioner Schaefer and his committee already has that in the works, but I'd just like to know, since Sheriff Arnold is not able to do that hiring at this time, who's doing that? And that would probably take away a lot of my objections from adding those deputies, all of my objections. But and one other thing, when we put the votes up on the board up there, I'm colorblind and everything is the same color. So we need to change those colors up. Maybe put one of them in black or something like that, Brian, so I'll know what's a yes and what's a no. Thank you.
We can do that.
Good point. There will be I can tell you a little bit about what's happening, but they are going to report to the Public Safety Committee, and that's on the 24th, I believe, isn't it, Mr. Schaefer? And that is taking place. Those interviews are taking place, and our Human Resource Director has been invited to participate in all of them. She hasn't been able to make every single one of those meetings, but she has been there for the most part, and they are letting her engage in this discussion and selection. Commissioner Schaefer.
Just to add, that's basically what I was going to say, but I believe the jobs that were open when this first came up, all of them except for one, had been filled by the middle of last week, okay? Because Vice Chairman Reed and I went out and we talked to Chief Garrett. And the new patrol officers all those have been interviewed and they're in process of hiring the seven additional, and they've started or put out the, to let everyone know that they're opening the 12 positions for detention. And they have it set up and they're taking the applications. Was to start, I believe, the beginning of this week. So in the process, and they're using the way, every level from sergeant and above goes through the interview process and then comes and before their board and they make the recommendations and they don't see the scores that were given. If there's 7 positions open, they'll at least give them 8 applicants to choose from for those 7 positions. Yeah. So we'll have get them to give us a full report next month on the 24th or later this month.
Commissioner P.
Just wanted to let everyone know that the Kittrell Volunteer Fire Department is having a ham breakfast this weekend, Saturday, October 15th, from 6 to 10. Would like to invite everyone out. Thanks.
Turner.
Thank you, Mayor Burgess. I wanted to kind of echo a little bit what Commissioner Schaefer was saying for the other commissioners too. If you have specific questions as commissioners that you would like us to ask, this will be the first meeting that we have with Chief Garrett and is supposed to be there. So if there is some questions that you have related to public safety or the Sheriff's Department, since things have changed in the last 30 days, please reach out to Commissioner Schaefer, Vice Chairman Reed, and anyone on the Public Safety Committee, because we're going to have some questions, obviously, for ourselves, but we certainly want to be able to honor what the commission body as a whole might have as far as questions if you can't be there. Please email us or reach out to us, via telephone, so we can get some of those questions answered for you, because it's kind of a new dynamic now that I don't think anybody's ever been in. So we want to be able to make sure that we ask the questions that you feel need to be answered as a commission body and as a committee body as a whole. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Other business or any other announcements? Commissioner Reed.
Just a reminder to everyone, you might want to put on your calendars for November the 12th, the Rockville Ruritan Club will be having their annual turkey shoot. And we'd like to invite everybody to come out there about 10 o'clock on that Saturday morning. You don't even have to have a shotgun to show up. I'll be there. I've just purchased a brand new over and under that has walnut stocks, blue steel, and I'll be glad to loan it to you. I'll be still looking over your shoulder watching what you do with it, but we'd like to have you out there. It goes to a real good cause. Come out and stand around the fire if you don't want to shoot anything. But this is a good chance to get you a turkey for Thanksgiving or a ham for Christmas, and you can stand around that fire with a couple of us rednecks, and we'd be glad to have you because we are there. From 10 o'clock till we run out of turkeys and hams or shotgun shells, whichever comes first. Rockville Community Center at Rockville. There's not too many other places out there that you can come to.
Commissioner Jordan.
As long as we're having community updates, and everybody needs to remember the MTSU's homecoming this weekend. Need to come to the game and watch them beat Western Kentucky. Sorry for any Western fans out there. And I think there's a game in East Tennessee that a lot of people might be excited about, maybe Alabama or somebody I have heard of before. So make sure and root for our Tennessee teams here this weekend.
All right, thank you very, very much. Anyone else wish to speak? If not, thank you very much. We are adjourned.